41 is next. We're gonna continue the front post stitches in the white, which means we have a lot of stitches to do. We've got to continue these guys, which are going to start to form an oval for us to fill in, and we got to continue all 4 of these on each side of the blue. So lots and lots of front post stitches here. When we go through it, you're going to see some I say as treble front post stitches, some I say as double treble. It honestly doesn't matter if you do them all double trebles or all trebles for that matter. It really is about how much yarn you use and how much you need. The ones I'm recommending are the ones that work the best for me and that I find work the best, but do what you feel comfortable with for the yarn and how tight or loose your personal stitches are. Again, how many times you yarn over in those stitches is irrelevant. It's really just to make sure they don't pull tight into the work. So go with what works best for you. And by now you've been doing a lot of them. You should be a little more comfortable with determining whether you need the 3rd yarn over or not. So we are going to start with an increase, and I got one right here. We want the 2nd stitch in the increase. That chain counts as our first single crochet. We want 8 of them before we start our front post. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You notice that I've got the stitch before the blue. That's when we always do these white. It's going to be the stitch before the blue one. The stitch after the blue one will be our front post stitches. I find a treble works fine here. So 2 times yarn over, grab the outside front post and complete the stitch. We're going to skip 1 here and do 2 single crochet this time. It's because we're actually going to start connecting these inside white ones together to form our triangle peak. So we need we want to bring them a little bit closer into the middle. Now we're going to do 2 front post double trebles. The first one around this front post here, the second one around this front post on this side, then we'll skip a couple of stitches. So we're actually doing 2 front posts in a row. I find having that extra yarn over helps here, even though we're close. Since we're connecting them up in the middle, it helps just to have a little extra yarn working in there. So we're going to start on the right hand one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not a 2 together, it's 2 separate stitches. Now this one coming here, so we have 2 front post stitches which are going to start bringing our work together. We're going to skip the 2 in the back. Now do 2 single crochet to bring us to the outside one. Now we can do just a treble front post to connect up to here. And like I said, whether you use a double treble or a treble, that one really is up to you. How many times you yarn over doesn't, do anything other than determine how long these front post stitches are. Okay. Now that we've finished this section, we got to deal with this section. So skipping 1 stitch, that's the front post here in front, we are going to do 8 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, and I just want to check that I skipped a stitch there. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After the 8 comes our increase. So we do need an increase in this round. So we'll throw an increase right here. Two more will get us to where we need to start the front posts for here. Okay, so we're going to do a front post, a couple single crochet or a few single crochet, front post. Both these front posts are going to go around this stitch all together. So the two together, we're going to go right around them. And for this one, I have a double treble written down. So 3 times yarning over, we're going to go around both of these guys together here. It was actually a together stitch, so it is one stitch, but it's got those two parts. And finish it out. Okay, we're gonna skip the stitch and do 2 single crochet before we come and do the other side here. Skip a stitch, and we have 6 more. Should bring us to our starting point. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 goes in the first stitch of the increase, which works because we started in the second stitch of the increase. So this is what we have when we're finished. Like I said, these are connecting up into a point to form a triangle here. These are going to actually spread out and form an oval right here, which we're going to fill in. It's one of the reasons why these are double treble, even though they're so close, because we're going to put some stitches in the inside and you need a little space for them to stretch out. So I recommend these two outside being treble, the guys here and here being double treble, but if it's easier for you to remember, just do a double treble for everything. I think you'll be better off with more space than less. Here's the count. More front post stitches, more weird counts, but it's starting to really get our pattern working together. You're going to join in the second stitch of an increase. We have 8 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will bring you to your first front post stitch. Front post here, skip 1, 2 single crochet, a front post here, another front post here with no single crochet in between. We're just doing one right after the other, which means we need to skip 2 stitches back here, couple of single crochet, and then you can finish your other front post stitch. So that'll finish this little section here. After this one, skip 1. In fact, all of these you've noticed, for every front post stitch we skip 1 in the back. So after we skip 1 here, we have, and I want to make sure I got this right, another 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single crochet stitches before the increase, then 2 more to bring us to this part. So we do our last front post, 8, increase 2. Here we'll do a couple of front post stitches. I recommend the double treble. So a front post double treble around this point here, skip 1, do a couple of single crochet, another front post double treble around the same 2 stitches here, those 2 that connect up, skip 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, finish it out. So that is this repeat. It's a long and complicated one, but it's doing a lot of parts and bringing a lot of our work together into these final stages. So finish that 8 times around before we move on. We are on round 42 now. We're going to join the aqua color yarn, and what we're doing in this round is filling in, or starting to fill in, this piece right here, this is eventually going to close up on top of it, sort of make a teardrop oval kind of shape. So we're going to throw a couple of overlay stitches in there to start filling that in. Then the next round we also throw another stitch in there to fill it up with a couple of colors. So we'll have a bunch of single crochet and a couple of treble overlay stitches inside these two. So first up, connect the yarn, join in. You want to find an increase, which comes right before these two overlay stitches, and we want to join in the first stitch of the increase. That chain will count as our first single crochet, and to begin we want 5 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you notice we're going right into this gap. We're going to do 2 treble crochet right in a row where we're going to join in the front loop of this purple stitch that's right there. That's the one closest to the bottom of these overlays. So both these treble are going to go into that same front loop. So yarn over twice, grab that front loop, finish the stitch completely. This isn't 2 together, it's 2 separate stitches. And again, yarn over twice into that, into just that front loop. And now we'll skip the 2 behind it because we have these 2 stitches in front, which means our next stitch is actually going to be over here in this front post from the last round. So we had 5 in, we're going to have 5 out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously we're not done, we need to fill in quite a bit. We got to get all the way over to here. But next up is the increase. So we'll throw that right here. And then after that, it's 25 single crochet to get back into this increase from the last one. So 25. Let me get the tail out of there. That should be 5. I got the tail in the way, so I'm going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5. This is 10. I got some stuff on my yarn here. Let me clean that off. And yeah, I totally lost count. So at this point, I'm just going to go over to the increase from before, and then I'll count it afterwards just to double check that I'm right. It happens, and in these later rounds there are so many more stitches. Each repeat here is 39 stitches, so it is easy to lose count, but it's why I try to have landmarks to use to help keep track. Alright, so we should end on, oh, we joined in the first, so I'm one too far. we should end right before the increase, so that's right here. So let me count and see if we actually did it right. Or by we, I do mean me. I mean, you're watching along, but I am the one who's counting and screwed it up, so no need to blame anyone else. So here's my increase. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So that count worked. So that is our repeat. We want to start in the beginning of the increase. So first stitch of an increase, we're going to have 5 in, a couple of treble hooking into this purple stitch down here, 5 out, and an increase. And remember, skip both of these stitches back here. So 5, 2 treble, skip 2, 5, increase, and now 25 single crochet to get you to the next increase and the next start of the repeat. That's it, 8 times around before we move on to another yellow round, which comes next.